historically, the Fulanis are not Nigerians. But historically, the Fulanis are Nigerians. Modern day town crier, are the Fulanis Nigerians? Are the Fulanis Nigerians? These are the questions I get from last year to this year from Nigerians. They are asking me, modern day town crier, are the Fulanis Nigerians? Okay, listen, pay attention, Africa. You see, some even sent that question this morning, and they are saying, you are the voice of Africa, but you are avoiding this question, town crier. Tell us, we Nigerians want to know, are the Fulanese Nigerians? Listen, I don't avoid questions. No, it is only time, okay? Because I have a lot of things to teach. But because this question has been coming, let me teach it so everyone can know their place and live happily ever after. Pay attention. Get a pen and a paper. Call your compound people. Gather them. The voice of Africa is about to teach for the people to hear. Pay scrupulous and sedulous attention for what I'm about to do. Make sure you write it down. It's a linchpin information. You can't get it anywhere. But don't misquote me. So write it down. Pay attention. The Fulanese. Who are the Fulanese? Listen. Historically, the Fulanese are not Nigerians. But historically, the Fulanese are Nigerians. Someone will say, town crier, what are you saying, this boy? You are contradicting yourself. No, I am not contradicting myself. That is a quagmire statement to show you that Nigeria is a political quagmire. But I am going to diagnose for you to understand better. Pay attention. You see, the Fulanese, historically, indigenously, are not aboriginal to the territory that became known as Nigeria. But the Fulanese are Nigerians. For us to understand this concept that I just gave you, we must clearly and distinctively differentiate between indigeneity from citizenship. And for us to do that, we must trace antecedent and follow a concrete, factual roller coaster of history, which I'm about to take you into a world of history. Pay attention. Listen. For me to diagnose better, you must wait to the end of this video so I can answer that question. But let me tell you whom the Fulanis are, what they do, where they came from, and how they settled in your country, Nigeria. Pay attention. You see, who are the Fulanis? The word Fulani, they can also be called what? Fube. Spelled as Fube. F-U-L-B-E. Fube. For the French-speaking West African part of them, it is spelled as P-E-U-L. For the English, it is Fula. F-U-L-A. What do? They are mostly nomadic farmers, Islamic scholars and teachers. They are people who rear their livestock, moving from one place to another, nomadic farmers. Now, the question is, where do they come from? Pay attention. Using scholarly consensus, the Fulanese emerged from Senegambia. Senegambia today are the present-day Senegal, Guinea, Mali, and Mauritania. They started moving across eastward towards the Sahel region between 8th to 11th century. They came to the area known as Kanem Bornu, that is the Hausa city states, in 11th century, between 8th to 11th century. But you must understand, they did not come to the place you know them to dwell today in the northern part of Nigeria as warriors. No, they came as peaceful migrants. They came as traders. They came as livestock rearers. They came as nomadic farmers. They came as Islamic teachers. Peaceful. And they stayed. But they were not permanent dwellers. No. At that point, they were temporary dwellers. They come and go. They became permanent dwellers between 15th to 18th century. That is when the Fulanese Fube became permanent dwellers in what you know as that part of northern Nigeria. But they were not rulers. No, they were minority dwellers. They were not majority. They were minority dwellers. Because you have the Hausas and other indigenous tribes in that part of the northern Nigeria. When did they become rulers? The turning point of the Fulanese leadership and rulership expansion started in the northern part of Nigeria in 1804 to 1808. The turning point came during the political revolution, what many scholars have called jihadist revolution, led by an Islamic scholar, Uthman Danfodio, whom accused the indigenous Hausa princes of corruption and not following the absolute teaching of Islamic principles. That was when Sokoto Caliphate was established, and the Fulanese expanded their leadership and rulership in the northern part of what became Nigeria. That antecedent takes us to the question, were the Fulanese Nigerians? From this lecture, you can know if they are Nigerians or not. But because I have to put you in place, I repeat, the Fulanese are historically not Nigerians because they are not indigenously aboriginal to the territory that became Nigeria, but they are Nigerians historically. This is where I'm going to explain it in total for you. Listen. You must understand that the Fulanese are not Nigerians because they are not originally aboriginal to the earliest dwellers of the territory that became as Nigeria, but they are undeniably Nigerians because their migration into Nigeria predates the British creation of Nigeria in 1914. That is where you distinctively differentiate between indigeneity, aboriginal, and citizenship. They came before the British, and Nigeria as a name is a British political creation, and because it is a British political creation, the Fulani settlement in the northern part of what became as Nigeria predates that British political creation. So, historically, they are not aboriginals to the territory of the earliest dwellers of what became as Nigeria. But they are Nigerians because they predate the British political creation of the name Nigeria. That is why Nigeria itself is a quagmirious political state. Do you understand? So when you talk about the issue of originality, aboriginal, indigeneity, they are not. But when you talk about the political creation of the name Nigeria, they are, because their existence predates, because they have intermarried with the Hausas, the Kunuri, and the Saharan people. And the word Hausa Fulani has been born. So you cannot teach a young Nigerian the Nigerian history in Nigerian school without mentioning Hausa Fulani history. They have become intertwined, interwoven. It only takes a historical scholar to be able to distinctively differentiate the two entities and explain them as a concept. And as a concept, the history of the Hausas and other tribe in the northern part of Nigeria and the history of the Fulani, just as I've done. But most ignoramuses will merge the two and explain the history, which is where wisdom lacks. And wisdom is meant to be the principal thing. Do you understand? So those of you who say, teach us, you have gotten the information. I am not hiding information. No, I don't hold information, but there is time for everything. This message is not to engineer negative ethnicity. No, it is to let you understand that your country, Nigeria, is a fragile nation, and it must be carried with all sense of carefulness, so it does not break. Do you understand? That is where the place of love, accommodation, justice, and tolerance must come into place. But accommodation, love, justice, and tolerance does not mean that ignorance or disrespect must be accepted. Do you understand? Everyone must take care of themselves, respect themselves, tolerate one another, so you can flourish as the largest populated black nation on earth. Because if you don't, it's my fall. But Tankrier wants Africa to flourish. But then, everyone must be respected. Everyone must be treated with love. Everyone must respect themselves so that the country, Nigeria, will be in peace. But there is need for me to teach the history, not from the place of negative ethnicity, but because of popular demand and because of love. And I am the voice of Africa, Africa. Wisdom is the principal thing. That reminds me, some of you say I'm AI. How am I AI? Can't you see me? Can't you see me? Someone says it's impossible for someone to know all these things offhand. It's not impossible. Don't you know that we are manifesting God on earth? There's nothing we can do. I don't look at script when I'm teaching you. I don't. There's no script anywhere. I am the only one here. It is tripod that is holding this. Let me show you around. Look around. Look around. Do you see? Look around. There's nobody here. It's just me. And there's no script anywhere. It is just me. It is possible. Do you understand? I can teach you on how to be a teacher. How to be a conscious teacher. Make sure you join my classes. I'm teaching people how to be a teacher and how to be useful to Africa and to the world at large. Okay? If you want that class, you know how to get me. My number is in my bio. Support Modern Day Tankrier so we can take this teaching to the rest of the world in any way we can. I love you. I care about you. Don't doubt it any day. I care and I love you. Okay? And I still give you free books. If I have money, I will give you. I love you, Africa. Wisdom is the principal thing. Aha!
Learn to be a teacher and not just a content creator. Just for 14 days with Modern Day Tankrier.